I'm Courtney Alexander Harris with Beyond the Four Walls, and this is part 2 of our series, Encouragement to the Saints. This part 2 is entitled, Men Accept the Role. I am very passionate about understanding why we do what we do and why we should do what we are called to do. Okay, so this part 2 is dedicated to men, fathers, brothers, uncles, dads, sons. We need strong men, I believe, more now than ever before in our society and our world. I want to put a disclaimer out there right now. This is a call to all those who have the mechanics of the male gender. I'm really not big on the opinions as much as I am on the facts. Okay. This is a much needed subject in light of where we are in society and what's culturally acceptable. And regardless of those facts, we need to fulfill the calling on our lives as men. From young to old, there's a role that we have to play. And I just want to have 4 points for you. But before we get to that, I want you to know that I genuinely care for you all. Because number one, I love the Lord and I'm called to love. I'm called to have compassion for others. Just as Christ is my perfect example was. We'll get into some of our points, but Christ loved everyone. And I want to be able, as a man, as a father, as a husband, I want to be able to show that same compassion for everyone, regardless if they understand their purpose and role in life or not. I want to live in such a manner that I'm able to encourage you by the way that I conduct myself, by the conversations that I have, by the way that I interact with my family, my wife, my children, my associates, my coworkers. I want you to come away from interacting with me with wanting to know more about how I can endure such things, and not only maybe you just want to know how, but be encouraged to know that you can do that as well. You can live a victorious life as a man. You can step up to the plate and be successful at that, if you will. It's a challenging road sometimes, being the man of the home, being the husband, being the father of the children. But I am equipped with everything that I need, and I want you to know that I am not special in that case. We all have been equipped with the tools. It's just understanding how to use what you have to get accomplished what you need to, and to walk in the role that you have been assigned. Okay, with success and victory and a grateful attitude, I know I can make it attitude. You can do all things through Christ who strengthens you, if Christ is your source. Again, as I said, I want to express to you sincerely that I care for you all. Even if you find yourself disliking some of the things that you may hear, I still love you with the love of the Lord, even though we may have a different view on men and their roles in life. My understanding, again, with Beyond the Four Walls, I and my wife, we base our living on biblical teaching, and that's something that's important for me to stress, so that there's no misunderstanding as to why I conduct or why we conduct ourselves the way that we do, why we respond the way that we do, why we make the decisions that we make. It's important to know what our foundation is. In Genesis 1:27 says that, so God created man in his own image. That is a great starting point for me to understand where I am going in this life as a man. Now, with that said, if there's anything that I can do to help you, I will do my best to accomplish that. And this is one of the means of which I hope to accomplish helping others. It is my mission to use this platform of media, social media, etc., to impart something positive to others in a way that was only done by traveling by horse or sending messages via mail, snail mail as it's called nowadays, to get messages to different parts of the country. Now with what the advances in technology, we can do it at a moment's notice, and I intend to use that to give God glory and to help families and to help marriages and to help men understand, as we are going to address in this second part of encouragement to the saints, how you should operate. So again, everything that I want to, the evidence that I want to submit to you is biblically based. I have found basing my life on biblical teachings to render me the greatest amount of success and contentment in my life, because I have I'm filtering how I live my life with a different lens, if you understand what I mean. I'm not just taking Courtney, if you will, and just trying to understand any and everything that comes in my life as a man, and just trying to figure out, well, how should I do this, how should I do that. There are questions of how should I handle certain things. However, it's just not a open-ended how do I handle something, because I have a resource, a source of wisdom and knowledge, and that's the word of the Lord. Okay? All right. My first point is going to come from Ephesians 4:15. Scripture says, speaking the truth in love may grow up into him in all things. I want to focus on the first part of the scripture, speaking the truth in love. This is something that we hear. I'm going to assume that we hear. I know I hear it a lot. That, you know, at least among the Christian believers, that you want to speak the truth in love. Meaning, you know, if you have something offensive to say, then you want to say it in such a manner that it's not going to offend. Well, the truth of the matter is that most things that are honest, that conflicts with status quo, is going to bring some type of offense. However, as believers, as men of God, we need to be able to discern how we need to get the information to, number one, our wife, number two, our children, our families, in a manner that they will receive. Okay, we have to be able to educate and encourage our families in such a way that, even though it may be offensive because it's the truth, and our flesh of whoever we may be talking to may not want to receive it, we have to be able to get that information out. That's one of the jobs that we have as men of our families, as leaders of our family, is that we have to be able to lead. Okay? And being a good leader is knowing how to communicate. I think that's the heart of what I want to express here in this first point from Ephesians 4:15. We must be able to communicate. If you can't let your wife know how you feel, what's going on inside of you, there's going to be some level of miscommunication, which breaks down the love and the oneness that you two should have as husband and wife. And that's important on a number of levels, but one of the most basic levels of you having oneness with your wife and being able to communicate is because, especially if you have children in the home, they are watching you and learning how they should respond in that same given situation with other people. You are the model. So men, you have a great task in being their first example of how to communicate, how to interact with others, because they see you doing that with your wife, their mother, on a daily basis. So make it your business to be good at communicating, being good at speaking the truth to your wife, to your children, even if it's offensive, but in a manner where they can receive that which may be offensive, but they're able to accept it and receive it and move on and move forward, whatever discipline or advice you may have for them. Second point comes from Proverbs 12:15. It says, "The way of a fool is right in his own eyes, but a wise man listens to advice." Men, part of your role is knowing what to do. Okay? But guess what? We don't know what to do all the time. And it doesn't make you less of a man. What makes you, maybe I would say, less of a man is being overly prideful and not seeking help when you need it. There's nothing wrong with needing help, because everyone needs help in their life, in their walk, their Christian walk, in their life on this earth. At some time or another, they're gonna need help. So men, if you need help, Proverbs assures us that a wise man listens to advice. It makes you better for yourself. It makes you better for your wife. It makes you better for your family to seek godly counsel. Now, you just don't want to entertain advice from anyone. Okay. All right. Third point comes from 1 Corinthians 11:3, and it reads, "But I would have you know that the head of every man is Christ, and the head of the woman is the man, and the head of Christ is God." This is God's created order. If your home does not look like that, then it's out of order. And when there's no order, there's chaos. So if you find that there's a lot of chaos in your home, man, check the order to see if you are operating the way that God has designed. And the order is God, Christ, man, wife, and then your rest of your family. Okay? We'll go into some of the other details in terms of our spouses and how that actually plays out in a future segment on marriage. But right now, my purpose is to focus on men and the role that you have as leaders. And my final point comes from Proverbs 27:17. It says, "Iron sharpens iron, and one man sharpens another." You need to get with other men who are trying to do what you are trying to do. As married men, men who have wives and children, you need to know that it can be a very tough road at times, and that you aren't in it alone. There are other brothers out there who are going through some of the very things that you're going through. Communication is an issue. Financial differences are commonplace in marriage, and you can learn from the experiences of other brothers who have maybe been through it, or you can share your experience with younger brothers, or brothers who have maybe older, but they may be new to the marriage covenant. You have a place and you have something to offer as a man, because you are a leader. 1 Corinthians 11 has shown us that. And you have something to offer because God created you with a purpose. Don't devalue yourself by looking at the status of others. Don't devalue yourself by wishing you had more, or more education, better job, bigger house, etc. Those things are all going to fade away. But what you can value is the knowledge that you gain from developing your relationship with Christ. Men, you can do it. I believe that you can do it. Scripture tells us that we can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. Allow Christ to be your backbone. Allow Christ to be your foundation of everything that you want to do. Psalms tells us that your word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. Study your word. Study with your wife. Study with your family, so that there's an understanding. This has been Encouragement to the Saints, Part 2. Men, accept your role. Step up to the plate. You can do it.